Hello, Dustin Wheeler. How are you today?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
You know what? I couldn't be any better, and I'm so pleased that you're here, that we can have a conversation um, about females, business, and growing your business.
I'm excited too.
Okay. So first off, Dustin, tell us a little bit about who you serve, what you do, and pathways to profit, or
All
pathways
right.
that profit.
All right. Well, so Gary, I work with coaches and consultants. I really help them build and scale their online businesses using binge-worthy workshops. And through that process, we also learn how to master the art of energetic attraction. Because
Okay.
there is work that needs to be done before you can really grow and scale a successful business.
All right. So I have two questions based on that answer.
Yes.
All right. First is, what is a binge-worthy workshop?
So a binge-worthy workshop is a mini workshop that gives your people an immediate small win that they want.
Okay.
So, as you know, growing your business, there are lots of things that you need to do. There are lots of things on your to-do list. A lot of those things aren't really the sexy things, like you want to see progress. So, using a binge-worthy workshop does a couple of things for your audience. It gives them some confidence. It gives them that immediate win that's going to help them be able to check something off their to-do list and make them feel good and give them some momentum towards the transformation that they're trying to do.
Okay.
So that's really why, especially right now in the marketplace, workshops are doing so well, is because people want now. People want a win now.
That certainly makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I want before I ask the second question, when you say these victories, these small wins, give us an example of what a small win would look like.
Um, so for instance, a small win would look like if you're trying to help your audience, or like if you, like for me as a coach, or I work with coaches and consultants, they're trying to grow their audience. They're trying to sell their product. Maybe they're a health coach that's trying to help this person get this huge transformation. So in like terms of a health coach, you're not helping people lose 100 pounds, you're helping them lose their first 5 pounds. And it's usually in an amount of time. So helping somebody lose their first 5 pounds in 2 weeks, 30 days, something like that, where they get a very tangible result in a very specific amount of time.
Okay. Like a motivation boost.
Yeah, yep. Something that gives them momentum, gives them a win, and encourages them to keep going towards their bigger transformation.
All right. All right. So the second question off of your answer about what you do is that energetic part of that. Restate that, and then tell us what that means.
So energetic attraction, that's the fancy term for it. What I really help people do is there are laws of energetic attraction. What you put out, you get back. Understanding the power and unlocking the power of your intuition, appreciation of the one in your business, and that what you give, you will receive. So those are the four laws of energetic attraction. But really what that means is I give people the science and the understanding of what happens when you get out of your head and you get into your heart and you start running your business from your actual physiological heart energy. And
Now,
there's something magical that happens when you do that because it creates this amazing heart and head coherence.
okay. Now, does that mean um, when you say get out of your head and get into your heart, does that mean what we overthink things, that we get stuck in our head, we overcomplicate, and or does that mean we're trying to find our true why?
No, it's in actual terms of like neuroscience and the physiological like um responses that happen when you're in your heart versus your head. There's a whole bunch of science behind what's happening when you've created conditioned patterns in your brain, when you're stuck in those patterns, when you're stuck in your ego, right? When we're in ego, it's all about me. What can I get? When you're stuck in these limiting beliefs, it's like driving a car in the snow and you're caught in the same track and you can't get out of it. So you're approaching things from the perspective of what you think you know. And when you actually get into the energy of your heart and use those different principles, oxytocin is being released, serotonin is being released, like all of these like physiological responses to put your body in a better state are happening. And now your energy from your heart, your I'm trying to think of what the name, I lost the name of it, but the actual energy from your heart starts to expand, and that's happening. So you're now in a better state. You make more better decisions from a place of knowing rather than a place of thinking, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes sense to me for sure.
Yeah.
Now, does this have any relation to like the quantum energy theory, right? Where it's like kind of like I would like to describe it as like a spider web, where it's a great big spider web, and there's lots of different layers, and you are out there with your energy attracting the things that you want. In this case, it would be clients, it would be income, more time with your family, whatever it is that you want. But in order to do that, you have to attract the people that are already on the same wavelength. So they're on that same spider web, and you start tickling it over here, and you would get the attention of all the other people that are on that same wavelength. Is it similar to that?
It is. It's not just like a lot of people think of the law of attraction and like, oh, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be rich, or I am rich. I am rich, and thinking that that's going to draw them to it. But I actually teach people like how to hijack their habit. Like there's your thought triggers an emotion, triggers an action, triggers a result. So when you're talking about changing your energy and showing up in that energy that matches the result that you're trying to get, when you understand that energy and you hijack the action is actually 10 times more powerful than trying to change the thought process.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
very, very powerful. So a lot of people, when they're talking about mindset and they're like trying to change their thoughts positively, you're stuck in your ego, you're stuck in your head, you're stuck in the patterns. And when you actually are in your heart, you drop down into your nervous system. And now when your body is in a better state, you're going to take better action. If you take better action, you get better results. When you get better results, right, you start to think better. So it's a way to also like hijack that habit that happens, that is our subconscious pre-programmed behavior. Because by the time that we're 35 or older, 95% of what we think, how we feel, the actions that we take, what we do is pre-programmed subconscious behavior. That means we're trying to change our lives with 5% consciousness. That's why most people don't change.
Okay. And so if you're over 50, all right. So it's like if you're over 50 and you haven't been paying attention to any of this kind of behavior analysis and behavior modification, then you've been stuck. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're having a certain level of success, right? You've been in business for a while, you're having a certain amount of success, but you find yourself frustrated because you're so busy that you can't get things done. You can't move. You can't break a barrier in income. You can't break a barrier in raising your prices. You can't break a barrier with hiring the right employees. Would you attribute those barriers to your thought process?
Absolutely. I believe that there is some sort of limiting beliefs that we have that we're holding on to that we may not even realize that goes against the result that we're trying to get. So a lot of people, for instance, if they're trying to make more money, they're like, oh, I want to make more money. I want to be more financially successful, but they're holding on to a subconscious belief. When they grew up, they were told that money is the root of all evil. Now, this may not be something that they're consciously aware of, but because at some point in their life they accepted that, they acted out that pattern in their brain. So there's a contradiction going on. So they may see some success and then they start to self-sabotage. They may see some success, but then they will ultimately revert back to who you think you are. And that think gets tricky because, again, if we're a little bit older, we've done it so many times now, our body knows how to do it better than our brain does.
And do we become conditioned to the settling, the falling back?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. It's the pattern that goes around and around, right? And it's the one that we do so well now we don't even think about.
So Dustin, that's actually pretty scary, right? It's pretty scary to think that.
It woke me up in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I say, to think, well, by the age of 35, that I'm kind of set in my ways, right? I'm set in my ways, and as smart as I may be, or as smart as I think I am, as much reading as I may do, I can't get beyond where I'm at unless I go in and change something internally.
Absolutely. You have to, in order to become something you've never been before, you have to change. And that's why most people don't, is because they're either scared to look at what that investment in their effort would look like, or they don't know how to do it on their own. But that doesn't mean, and here's the good news though, is that we are adaptation machines, right? We are literally born to adapt in our lives. And so just because if you're 35 or older, that there doesn't mean that there's no hope for you. And I'm a living example of that, because 7 years ago, my life was completely different. I am not the same person that I am now. And I was very much conditioned with a lot of the negative aspects of growing up in trauma, growing up in abuse, a lot of things like that. So, when you've lived out those patterns a long time, it can feel almost impossible to change. But that's first and foremost why I believe that everybody needs a coach.
Okay. Yeah. I would agree that everybody needs a coach, because we don't see what we don't see what we can do for others, right? Yes. We know what we can do for others, but we don't see what we can do for ourselves in that same sense. We need somebody else looking at us.
Absolutely.
All right. So all right, for those who are way over 35, how long does it take to affect a change?
Well, I mean, if you look at people like Tony Robbins, he gets people to change instantly because he understands he can see and help you change that pattern. So this is what I would encourage everybody to do, whatever that next level is for you that you can't get to. Whether it's more wealth, whether it's better health, whether it's more time freedom, whatever that is, pick a model of somebody that's got what you want, right? That's done what you want and that's been there. And then start looking at the actions that they took to do that. Because like I said, first and foremost, you have to act as if before you're going to be able to change your thoughts. Okay. So, and you're going to get, like I said, your actions are 10 times more powerful than your thoughts are. So that's going to give you some quick momentum. It's going to give you some quick results. It's going to give you some quick, like, again, like if you see progress, you're going to be more apt to wanting to do it. So while you're taking that action, and this action is going to be terrifying because you are now stepping out of your comfort zone. You are now acting as if you're a 7-figure earner and you've never done that before, right? You are now in the unknown, but your growth is in that gap. And once you start being able to hack that habit with the action, then you start looking at the model of success of that person. What were they reading, right? Who were their friends? What was their community? What kind of team did they build? Things like that. And then you've got a map now that's going to help you with what actions to take that are going to get you the best results for those actions. And you have to continuously pour into yourself because there's so much media that's working against you. There's so much marketing out there that's working against you. You have to be able to guard your input and protect it.
Right.
So that is huge, because if you're trying to change and you're constantly surrounding yourself with people that are telling you can't do it, or people that are telling you that, you know, they're giving you advice based on their failed dreams, then ultimately, right? Like, what's the metaphor? Like, if you're an eagle, don't hang around with chickens.
Right.
So, you know, you don't get advice from chickens if you're an eagle. So it's kind of like that. So there is work involved. And that's the part that most people don't want to put into.
Well, I think that kind of goes without saying. As an entrepreneur, if you're going to have success, you have to be willing to do what others aren't willing to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to let your old identity die. You know, if you're a person that's, you know, an action taker that's been really busy and really productive and you work 12 hours a day, you know, you have to, if you're wanting to change and wanting to grow and have more time freedom, have more wealth freedom, then you have to become a person that allows, you know, smarter work, right? Smarter work that you don't have to put in so much time. And once those identities kind of start to go, you allow them to leave.
Sure. Okay, let's go through a couple questions here.
Okay.
60-second answer.
Okay.
What is something most people think is important that I can just skip entirely?
This is a interesting one. That you can skip entirely.
Right. Most people think in order to have success or achieve some life goal that there are these things that are important. Well, what's one thing that people think is important that's like, no, don't need that?
I like, as far as I'm going to put this as far as a behavior. So a lot of people spend a lot of time talking about what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can omit that. Don't talk about it. Take action on it.
Okay.
That is a big one, because a lot of people, they're like, oh, you know, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I can always tell who's not going to do it. It's usually the person that's talking about it.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right. What is something you did radically different than your peers 5 years ago?
Actually, it was it was a little longer than 5 years ago. But when I was smoking. So I was smoking, I was drinking, I had a lot of really, really bad habits. And I was going to try and quit smoking this time. And instead of actually trying to quit, I changed my identity. So I changed my identity and looked at and always asked myself, and like, what would a non-smoker do? And I started taking that action. And so it gave me that map to be successful. And so instead of saying I was trying to quit, instead of saying I used to be a smoker, I literally changed my language and changed my identity that I was a non-smoker. And so because of that, when I changed that identity, all of these other bad habits that I had fell away, because it didn't fit my identity anymore.
I love that. I mean, because look, as marketers, we have to look at it and say, well, does a content producer scroll through Twitter like this? The answer is always no.
Well, and the good thing is that there's usually one action that you can take that seems very small and insignificant, but that is the domino effect for getting better results. So you just have to find what is that action that's going to help you knock down those dominoes in your business.
Yep, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been awesome, Dustin. How do people find you? What's the best place?
So if you want to go, they can either go to pathwaysthatprofit.com. You can schedule a call with me, or if you want to just ask some questions and email me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as Pathways That Profit. So.
Oh, very good. Very good.
This was awesome.
Hey, Dustin, I appreciate your time and thank you for the interview.
Yes, absolutely.